Hi, this is Jake Stolman for Impromptu 910. I'm going to be filming myself doing a performance, and I'm going to be timing myself with the computer and the iPad. The computer has the quote, the iPad has the timer. Ignore the tag, it's an issue. Okay, I'm going to do my quote and get rolling. To look back at antiquity is one thing, to look back to it is another, by Charles Caleb Colton. I'm going to start the timer and go. $40. 15 seconds. When I study history, I usually keep one phrase, saying, or maxim rolling around in my head as I speak or as I study. That is, history repeats itself, and that's why we should learn from it. This is no less evident in a quote by Charles Caleb Bolton, who that states, "To look back at antiquity is one thing, to look back to it is another." This quote is very accurate, and I agree with it for multiple reasons. The basic message of the quote is that history is a source of learning, and thus we should utilize that as something to learn from the future. And this is evident in many areas, some of which are a repetition of financial crises throughout U.S. history, a progression of science, specifically astronomy, from one age to another, and how Asian literature helps many people nowadays. And for example, the financial crisis of the 1830s that was caused by Andrew Jackson's choice not to use paper money is followed by the Great Depression in the 1920s, and additionally it is followed by the Great Recession in the 2000s. And these are all due mostly to inflation and banking not being able to give people their loans. So this happened time and time again, which caused people to look back and try and use the economic principles of the past, but these people have not thought of doing so since recent times, where we've kind of disregarded the past and said these are different circumstances. Another circumstance, but one in which we don't ignore the past, is the golden age of astronomy, and how Copernicus and many other Galilean time period people looked back to ancient Greece as sources of knowledge. For example, Copernicus used the heliocentric theory, which states that the Earth and planets move around the sun, not the other way around. That was initially proposed by Aristarchus. Aristarchus was an ancient Greek philosopher. Meanwhile, Copernicus was a Polish astronomer. This shows how Copernicus, looking back into history, was able to create an even more correct assumption than the supposedly modern one they had at that time period. And another way that many people nowadays look back into history is actually through Asian war literature, chiefly The Art of War by Sun Tzu and The Book of Five Rings by the Japanese samurai Miyamoto Musashi. They're both tactic-based, they're both saying what to do in a war or a fight, but also give you principles for life, and they're good reads. But they show many people, such as Japanese baseball players, since they have a large baseball, their baseball is very large in China and Japan. They read the book every year to help train them with baseball. So that shows how they look back to antiquity to help with themselves. And that helps their careers because of it. So, in summary, all these, the financial crisis and us ignoring their common causes, Copernicus is looking back to ancient Greece, and Sun Tzu and Miyamoto Musashi's books bringing help to modern Japanese and Chinese baseball players demonstrate that looking back to antiquity and actually looking to it for life advice and lessons are two completely different things, because history does repeat itself and we should learn from it. Thank you.